Yo, what is going on, guys? In this video, I want to go ahead and talk to you about how to create man switches. Man switches are a huge part of my game when it comes to beating these corners that have one step ahead. Example, Jalen Ramsey, right? In MUT, you'll face a lot more people that are rocking 3 one-steps, typically on both outsides and their slot. So every once in a while, you'll see somebody rocking 4 of them, but for the most part, it's basically 3 if you're playing MUT. If you're playing regs, nobody has one because they're all playing with the Packers. But if you're in a CFM or something and they have a receiver or a corner like a Jalen Ramsey, right, you can use this tactic here or in MUT. So just to go ahead and show you this, we're in the play P counter waggle. This is in the pistol playbook, and the formation is pistol wing slot. I've broken this down on the website. I've broken it down on YouTube to a certain extent. But overall, this is the offense that I am in. It's what I play money games in. It is what I play on MUT. It's what I play in regs. What I use in a CFM. I use this offense everywhere. It's good in every single scenario. And we just dropped it on MaddenDaily.com if you guys haven't already checked it out. So let's go ahead and get into the man switch, right? So the man switch is the point of the video. And I'm going to show you 2 different examples of how you can move that corner. Now, generally, people are going to match up their corner on our tight end because that's the player we're trying to abuse over and over again. So what we want to do with this on the play P counter waggle is we need to get Jalen Ramsey off of him. So to do so, we're going to go ahead. We're going to put the tight end on a post. If you don't have a post, you can put him on a streak. Both are going to work. Now, the way that we're actually creating the man switch is we're going to motion this slot over and hike once he passes the tight end. So you'll see right here, he passes there. Now you can see we've got Jalen off of the player to where we can go ahead and abuse this tight end route. Now keep in mind, this is Antonio Brown. He does technically hit the route running threshold. However, he is not fast. Let's go ahead and do it again. Streak. We're going to smart route this tight end. Motion Godwin over on the drag. Now, once again, as you see, he's absolutely going to get cooked. We can go ahead and either throw the bullet, or in that scenario, I lobbed it, but not ideal against a 2-man under coverage shot, right? So one last time, just to show you guys this will work. Technically, the tight end doesn't have to go on a streak. If you wanted to put him on, say, a curl, if they're mixing in zone, you can put him on a post, which is my preferred setup in MUT, but you'll just see how this works, right? So we're motioning him over, hike once he passes that point. Now you've got backside high-low read between the drag and the post. And then if, and it's a big if our opponent is not in a cover 2 man, or a 2-man under, I should say, then if it's cover 1 or cover 0, this player right here on the S post will absolutely dominate to the inside. So let me go ahead and just show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead, audible over to a Mike Blitz O. All right, so it's going to look like this right here. We've shaded over the top just so we don't get beat deep. Now on this S post, right, so we're going to go with the same setup where we're posting the tight end, dragging Godwin, motioning him over. Right, so it's going to look just like this. So as you can see, you've got that route right there as well. Now, that's going to be anytime they shade over the top. Obviously, they're not going to shade over the top in 2-man under. But if they do shade over the top, or they simply just don't get a good press, that's the type of separation and the rack ability you'll have. Now, last thing to talk about is the other way to do this. And this is my favorite way of attacking man in the game, period. And that's basically creating a man switch that your opponent isn't really familiar with, right? So same play. We're going to do the exact same play. Now we're going to put the tight end on a post. We're going to motion him over. And now what happens is this gives us the ability to put this outside receiver on routes that normally tight ends don't get. The game now registers Antonio Brown as a slot receiver. So I can put him on the stop and go, across, a post, a corner, whatever I want, right? The main thing that I like is the ability to put him on a slant or a hitch. So in this case, I'm creating a man switch. I'm going to put him on a slant, right? Now it's going to look like this right here. Now, in order to create the man switch, we're going to put the slot receiver on a flat. That's going to basically flood the zones to the left. And now to the right side, we're going to put the running back on either a flat or a swing. A flat, if you have the ability to put him there, is essentially a table route. That's the the preferred way, right? But if you have a team that doesn't have Hot Route Master, or if you simply don't utilize your running backs enough to have a ability on him, right, like a backfield mismatch, backfield master, something along those lines, you just put him on a swing. So you'll swing him in this scenario to the right. So this is how the play art's going to look. And I want you to see how this actually switches, right? We're going to press just so you can see it. But it works against press and non-pressed, right? So just watch what happens right here. Right? You see how wide open he gets? And that's because essentially the linebacker, or when they audible down to and it becomes a safety, that's the player that actually will guard Antonio Brown in this scenario, that outside tight end, instead of Jalen, right? So generally a slant would get bagged decently against a one step ahead. However, because we are creating the man switch, you see how Jalen now switches off. You can actually see the linebacker kind of point. Basically, they switch to where the one step will now guard my flat to the running back. And then the person that is in the slot that was on the running back switches, and he switches late. Every time he'll switch late, but he'll go guard the crosser. So now, with this setup, I've got the tight end on the post, I've got the slant that's backside, and then I've got the S post over the top. So depending on where our user would go, defensively, right, they're not able to play this area over here as well as this area over here and then still have people back here deep. They just simply don't have enough people to user, right? Now, let me go ahead and show you how this works that much better when you start facing more of a meta style of a defense, right? So when people are audibling down from 3-3-5 to 3-3-5 wide, a lot of the times they'll make this adjustment right here where they'll man up the running back with the blitzer. Their user then becomes the guy that they lurk with, right? So they'll lurk around with this guy. Now, when they run this, they're thinking they have everybody manned up, right? You can see, right? Both tight ends are manned up, the running back's manned up, both outside guys to the left are manned up, right? So their user has free roam in this scenario. Now, what happens when we create that same setup, right? So if we were to create the same setup where we're motioning this guy over on the post, slant. Now, when we get used to this and we set this up and hike it quickly, right? That's the setup. Pay attention to what their play art looks like. Now they have nobody guarding the tight end, and they have a player that is going to man switch onto our other tight end. So the post and slant combination is going to put the user into a really big ordeal because both of them are going to be wide open. So let me just go ahead and show this to you. You'll see if they do make this adjustment, you see how you have nobody guarding this tight end right here. And then in the replay, I'll show you how nobody actually guards, or they technically guard it, but they switch so late that it's basically not guarded. So as you saw, motioning him over leaves him wide open. Generally, people will chase that, right, with their user. The problem is you can't chase that when they're creating a man switch on a slant that's going to get absolutely cooked to the other side of the field. So generally with this setup, I've got two people running wide open, and then I've got the S post over the top if they're in anything besides two-man under. So just creates crazy man switches, and it's really going to annoy your opponent. So overall, those are the two ways that I personally like to abuse man coverage and abuse the one step ahead meta. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you guys want to see more out of this pistol offense, more tips and tricks like this, let me know, guys. Hit the like button, post something in the comments. Let me know what you guys want to see. And with that being said, I'm out.